And we're back. We are going to see what the heck Phoenix thinks about this. It's only been like 5 minutes. And I already forgot what we're talking about, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Oh, the reason the victim brought thank you, Phoenix. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was I was wrong. It was 7% presentation. Oh, okay.
Okay, make sure to save.
I can't.
Oh,
I already did. I did it before the break.
Okay.
I actually think okay. So Juan brought an extra costume because I think Juan was going to go up on stage in the costume and confess something. Because you remember that there was supposed to be there was like this whole thing where there was going to be a press conference after the show, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard about any press conference.
Yeah, yes. You're right.
So I think that's what this is.
And his manager didn't even tell him about that. I remember that.
Yeah. What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference. A press conference? Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference.
I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right?
But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Ungard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I see it, that can be only one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself. The victim? Yes. The spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai. He was going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet, however. What I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference.
I'm pretty sure he was just going to try to sabotage his career. I mean, at least that makes sense to me.
Yeah, but how would he go about doing that is the question. Would he just go out there and be like, I, Matt Ungard, as the Nickel Samurai, have a lot of really illegal stuff in my room.
Yeah, I just have so much cocaine.
Plant cocaine in his room and be like, I'm Matt Ungard. Do cocaine. There. And then walk off stage.
That's how he would have gone about it, I don't know, but I think that's where that's
somewhere in that vein.
Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself.
Which means that Juan Corrida, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt Ungard. Or he's just like, I'm dating this girl from the circus who's 16 years old. That's what he's going to reveal about himself. and then we'd just be like, God damn it, not you too. Come on. Yeah, so I guess that is what it would mean.
If that's the case, that's not a confession. That's public disclosure.
Miss Andrews? I can see why you are pros at what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say. The press conference was set up by Juan. Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me. You? Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He was going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow Juan had his hands on a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What?
He actually has a crazy southern accent.
Oh no,
And yes.
not again. And do you know what the secret of Mr. Unguard's is, Miss Andrews? That's something only one knew. I don't know what it is. Oh, I see. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone. But that's to be expected. I did kill him after all. I've been trying to protect Matt after all. Protect Mr. Unguard. And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior. Yes, Your Honor. I understand. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course. The button and the knife. Well, I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. This does account for everything. Well, I am the logical type.
We're finally seeing her true self. She is more nervous than a scared rabbit.
If the defense can find no fault to this testimony, I'm ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright. Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. Matt had a feeling that it was murder. He had to do it. No alibi. I saw the evidence, but I'm his manager. Okay.
As I
expected. Yeah, I know. I also thought it was her line, which is why I stopped. I was going to take a sip of water. As I expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid.
Really? Because to me, it sounded a little wishy-washy.
Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll see if I press a little more.
You should know this by now. But you'll need strong, decisive evidence to make her talk.
Got it, Chief. I'm gonna pin you down this time, Miss Andrews. Okay, would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. Ugh. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things? A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. And if you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear.
You should have already known that, Phoenix. Fucking idiot.
They didn't teach that to us in school. At least not from what I remember. May I continue now? I had to go on no matter what. So would you say this need came from the press conference? Yes. Do you know why Juan chose that event and that hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Madame Guard. And you knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews? Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume. But I'm sure Mr. Unguard himself didn't know anything about the press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony. Yes, I agree. Miss Andrews, please correct your testimony if you please. Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. Okay. So, let me look at... Okay, so, do we have a way to prove that Mr. Unguard didn't know about the conference? What does his profile say? Nothing. Okay, so let's keep pressing for now. Oops. Has Mr. Ungard done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask? You were the one who helped Mr. Corito with his press conference. And that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Ungard, yet you still helped out.
The person on trial right now is Mr. On Guard, right? What the witness was thinking, helping the victim with his plan, is none of our concern. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill.
Why do I keep doing this to myself? Okay, he didn't have an alibi. But didn't you already testify earlier that Ungard was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. Ungard? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time. I keep trying, but I can find no flaws with what Miss Andrews has said. I can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however. The judge is glaring straight at Mia.
He's glaring at you, smart guy.
My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence. Okay. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jammin' Ninja's costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the pleats of Matsukama, isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. Ugh. Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeats. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me.
With a nicey stare, yes.
Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. Okay. And how do you know that? When the ends of the threads on the button and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit together perfectly, or so I heard. I've heard that before too. Why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail? Don't look at me like that, just because I'm prepared and you're not. And I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here, but where and what? But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? And at the worst possible time.
Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it?
This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Ungard at any time. Why then would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Corito planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Ungard as much damage as she possibly could. This witness bears ill will towards the defendant.
This isn't the Phoenix Wright Wax Philosophical Power Hour. And please, stop slandering the witness.
Okay. So as Phoenix said, the button was turned off during this fight with 1, so this line seems to be where we need to fight this. Okay, so this button was torn off during his fight with 1. So... okay, here's my thinking. So, she's saying the button was torn off during the fight. But, from the autopsy, we know that 1 was actually strangled first, and then was stabbed after he was already dead. So if the blood is on the button, that means the button was still on him when he died.
Yeah.
So I think we go with the button here, although I can save now, so I'm going to
The
do that
button, not
first.
the button, not the autopsy report. Because the autopsy report says that he was then stabbed with a knife. That would
yeah, maybe
contradict
you're right.
the statement.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think you're right. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume when?
After the knife was stabbed into the victim.
Exactly. Which means it is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle. Because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's already dead body. Order, what was...
What is the meaning of this, right? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change?
Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve?
What purpose?
We now know this button was not torn off during the fight. So the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it? Have a memento of the crime.
Yeah, to remind
I just
themselves
wanted something to
what they
remember my deeds by. Obviously to pin the crime on guard.
Yeah.
There is only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Unguard. There's no way anyone would put a bloody button in their own pants. That's right, Mr. Unguard was set up. By the real killer, of course. And the real murderer is... the real murderer, Judge. Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer, then? Finally. I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point.
Phoenix, you can't lay your guard down yet. Not until the very end.
The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. Unguard, is... Wait, it's Old Bag, clearly.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was thinking it's actually suicide. You know, just making it look like a murder.
Oh, yeah, it was Juan. God, there's no way he's fucking 21. Jesus Christ.
Damn.
How am I... How are all these people younger than us?
Wait.
Except Gumshoe.
Yeah, Gumshoe. Yeah,
Gumshoe's our age.
Yeah.
How? Anyway, it's Andrews. Miss Adrian Andrews. I choose you. Okay. You are Mr. Karita's killer. What? Order. Mr. Wright. This is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge? Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews. How preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. On Guard, naturally. The knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. That is really funny animation.
How many glasses does she have?
Yeah, right. Then, what about the button that was found in Matsukama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. Ungard was the real killer, there's no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. That's what? This is her fourth pair now?
Fourth or fifth?
Because we saw the animation was 4. We just saw 3 more times. So this would be her 5th, yeah. Huh. The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Ungard's Hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you yet again, Miss Andrews. I see. What about the empty guitar case? That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was just such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No,
But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time.
That's right. That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposefully left her fingerprints on the glass to show that yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. Oh, there goes number 5. And to top it all off, there is this photo.
I mean, if anything, I feel like that glass, if anything, screwed her over. Because it's like her story stopped making sense because of that. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
At least it started not making sense.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think the glass by itself wouldn't have been as bad if it wasn't for the fact that she also knocked over the face.
Yeah.
Like, that really made... Like, the glass might have actually been a decent way to defend herself. It's just like, yeah, no, I touched the glass and that was it. And then we didn't find her fingerprints anywhere else. But the vase really fucked her over.
But yeah, but it's like, my thought is, oh, well, first she initially poured herself a glass because she felt, like, faint. But then she put it down because she's like, oh, wait, shit, yeah, there's a dead body. I need to...
That's true. She would have had to explain that, and that just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Exactly. That's why I'm thinking, like, that glass already fucked her over.
Yeah, if anything, it would have made more sense. I'm trying to think of a way that it would have made more sense. If one, he was, like, half drinking, like, drunk, like, she was so shocked she was just, like, poured herself a glass and, like, sat down and drank half of it and then put it down and, like, fucking then called the authorities or whatever. Or, if the tomato juice was in her and Matt's room, like, she brought the tomato juice to their room so that it would look like she came in with the glass. And that she put it down when she saw the body.
Like I say, she's not. She's fucking lying, man.
Yep. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. Odgard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please, stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? Got her this time. Miss Andrews? I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something. if it can incriminate me. Well, yes, you are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves. What?
See, there's laws to prevent people from incriminating themselves, but there's no law to prevent people from whipping even the judge.
It's true. Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Ungard's room. Also, yeah, what about that other case where one of the witnesses did exactly that? Oh wait, that wasn't written yet, even though it technically already happened. Once again, that's something that happened in Rise from the Ashes first. But except not, actually. Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Think hard about what we, yeah. Understood? Alright. I'm so glad that I don't have to do them in the same scene too much, because they are basically the same voice. That's it. That's when Francisca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things looked bad.
You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. Now you're screwed.
Yeah, right?
There's still one thing you haven't done.
Something I haven't done?
What's wrong, right? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence?
What's so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth?
I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless.
What?
Everything you have proven is circumstantial.
Circumstantial?
Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to prove a single piece of definitive. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did, in fact, harbor a wish to murder Corita.
Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Corita? I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. But isn't that the same as saying yes? But, Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think? Maybe so, or maybe not. There's nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No, she's taking that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do?
Somehow, we've landed in the worst possible situation.
I don't know if that's true. I think we've reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid definitive proof. I mean, Edgeworth said that, so I guess that's the case. But that's not true. In this situation, there's only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess. Recess? I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter. At tomorrow's trial... Tomorrow? You don't have it tomorrow. If you don't get a not guilty verdict today, then... Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. Trial. Please continue the trial.
What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? Well, it's not like he's gonna get executed tomorrow.
Yeah, but Maya's not, so...
Well, forget about it. I mean, she's not the client.
That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya... but it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is...
Yeah, Edgeworth says, you know what? He's right. Here's the photos of her committing the murder.
Jesus Christ.
It is not possible for this trial to continue.
It's not impossible.
Impossible.
Yes. Big distinction.
No, it's not possible. Look, Maya.
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you...
It's true that Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation were something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony.
Yes, that is very true, but...
Actually, there is one little that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Well, we're back at this again.
Yeah, right. Yes, and...
I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they're shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice.
So my actions were unusual, but I've already...
It's not even a V8. Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect.
Testify?
Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today. I can't get a good read off of him.
Clearly he knows that this is Maya's life is on the line. Helping us. So, like,
Is he a friend or foe? I just don't know.
well, if you were there at that other trial that hasn't been written yet, you would know he's probably more of a friend this time. The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please. That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. What?
You're for the dead body.
Yeah, right? I was pouring one out for the homies, as they say. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And Juan was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice.
Yeah, like, I didn't pay attention to the knife that was sticking out of his chest. No.
No. Well, obviously that wasn't there yet, because I stabbed him with it. When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. So you lied about all that other shit. So, like, that's illegal, right?
Yeah, perjury, yeah.
So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony? I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. What?
My God, it just gets worse and worse. Phoenix, please be careful here. I can't find anything wrong with this testimony. Then there's nothing left. I mean, there's so many things wrong with this testimony.
Yeah. I know, Mom. Okay, I get it. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours? Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. didn't pour it for myself. Surprised. He was sitting in the corner. He was like alive, I thought. Okay.
This is what it all comes down to.
Huh?
This is the absolute end for both sides, and Adrian is letting our guard down. Phoenix, now's our best chance yet to kill the prosecution's case.
Isn't that a bit harsh? Miss Andrews, will you tell us the truth this time? Okay, so what's up?
I think I know the answer. It's related to literally what I said earlier.
About what specifically?
It's like, oh, you thought he was just sleepy or tired? Like you didn't see the knife? That's like clearly sticking out of his chest.
Yeah, that does make sense.
I think that's the answer.
That might be it, yeah. That would make a lot more sense. Okay, so we're gonna press anyway. Get as much information as possible, you know?
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
But there wasn't anyone else in the room, right? Of course not. Then who did you pour it for? Mr. Wright, there is a rhyme and reason for everything. Can you wait just a little longer for it to be revealed to you?
In other words, Wright, shut the fuck up and listen. Be quiet and listen.
Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Fucking asshole. Okay. When I walked in the room, saw it in this messy state. So it was a mess? Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Corito?
I understand your frustrations at not being able to prove your theory, however. Before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. Oh my god, I did. I thought that said go fuck yourself. Go find.
Go fuck yourself some evidence. Wait, what? Ugh.
Then, next.
Seeing something over in the corner. Slumped over. Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping. Is it just me, or did that right there sound a little odd? Okay. Sounds like that the thought he was dead didn't cross my mind. What did cross your mind? I thought maybe he had smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix. And then felt tired after his rampage, so he decided to take a nap. Anyways, that's what I thought. I see, so you didn't think he was dead at all. That sounds,
he was just
legit.
tuckered out.
I know that happened to me many a times.
Especially working with this ass clown.
Yeah, right. You thought he fainted? I thought he was asleep at first. But then the room was in such a messy state. I thought maybe he had gone into a fight with someone.
And that's when you went to pour the glass of juice.
Yes, he always had a hard time with waking up. So Juan always had a glass of tomato juice to drink. I see. And after that, what happened next?
Wait,
okay.
why would she know that much about him?
Well, they were dating.
Oh yeah.
And how did you come to realize that he was in fact dead? I shook him over and over, but I never got a response. So I set the glass down on the dresser and tried to take his pulse. I was shocked and staggered backward.
And knocked a flower vase over. So that's what happened.
Yes. Okay. She did say the thing about the pulse earlier, so it actually does, like, sound like it fits together, but... so I think I would be here. Before we do... Oh, apparently not. Maybe it's on the other line then.
Yeah, which line did you do it on?
I did it on, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind.
Hmm.
But it could be he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. Because that is the line when we pressed it, she was like,
Oh.
I thought he was sleeping.
Oh no, I'm thinking the picture. The picture of the crime scene, which shows that he has a
Oh.
thing in his chest.
Yeah, okay, we could try that. Feels like it could have
It's
been
like that.
either,
That
to be
proves
honest,
that it's like,
but-
oh yeah, I thought he was just slumped over. Look at that. I mean, that thing's just fucking sticking
Yeah.
out like a
I mean,
squid bug.
to be fair, I feel like that either one should kind of work for that, because it's like, what about the
Yeah.
knife that was found in his chest? What about the
Yeah.
image of him with the knife in his chest? Like, I feel like either one should technically work.
Yeah, I mean, is it always just one right answer?
Yes, it is. It is. It is
Mhm.
always just one right answer. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
that
feel
would be
like both should
why.
work.
But yeah. So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body? Ah. What is the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There's a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Karita's chest. Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought here was a dead man. Well, you see, I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted. And then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink. Your point is, Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie.
Well, see, what she really tried to do is replace his blood with the tomato juice, thinking that would revitalize him.
And
You
that
know?
makes sense, yeah. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly, that you are the real killer. No! Well, I tried, I guess. It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matt on guard, is not guilty after all. But that's impossible. You're wrong. Miss Andrews, try to have some composure. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt. I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan. You were the one who refused to testify. Your reason for not doing so is that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because... Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. And there is no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt Ungar's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is it over? Have we found the truth at last?
What's wrong, Phoenix?
Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. Now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Matt Ungar.
Your Honor, let's wait till tomorrow. The prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time.
Motherfucker. What?
The reason is quite simple. The witness has yet to speak the absolute, real truth. For realsies.
The absolute real truth. What are you?
Witness, don't you understand yet?
Huh?
You can't be convicted if you don't say the truth. So you're fine.
Yeah.
That's how the laws work here, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess kinda.
I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head. As long as you protect yourself through your silence. On guard will go free in his place. You will become the guilty party.
That's a lie. I don't believe you.
What?
I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared.
It's Franziska von Karma.
Maybe? Huh?
Do you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another. Because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself.
Then right now, Miss Andrews is...
Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss Von Karma. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Matt on guard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and is clinging on to them.
Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get her not guilty. That is my only priority. It wasn't me. I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help, please, someone help me. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. The court can't continue on like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do. I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say?
Right. I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did, and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime.
Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? No one else it could be except the one crying over there, right?
Now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
So, save. Okay. The question is, do we ask for a not guilty verdict, or do we force her to testify?
Oh, I'd say we ask not guilty verdict, then just say pretty please.
Yep. I get the feeling it's the other one is the actual answer, but let's see what happens. No matter what she says, Miss Andrews is the only person it could be. Not to mention, I don't have a choice. I have to win a complete acquittal today. Your Honor, the defense believes there is enough evidence to substantiate our claim. Therefore, we motion that this court passes a verdict of not guilty as soon as possible.
I'm disappointed in you, right? What have you learned in this past year?
I've only had 2 or 3 cases in it, so I don't know, nothing. No one. I've learned that nobody wants to give me money. That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense's theory is the truth. You're wrong.
What a shame. I'd hoped things wouldn't come to this. However,
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulder to disclose this to the court.
Ooh, so I wonder if we would have gone to this information regardless of the option we picked.
Would that be possible?
Well, I think if we picked the other option, it would have brought us here naturally, is my
Okay.
guess. Stop, because we would have made her testify about what's happening.
I guess.
Mr. Edgeworth.
This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness, and it'll kill everybody in this courtroom.
What?
Because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past.
Stop, please stop.
No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here.
That's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report.
Well, what will you do now, witness? You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of a pitiful woman known as Adrian and
Secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please, please stop. I beg you, if people find out, I'll...
if you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me.
Edgeworth, how can you be so cold?
However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips. No matter what I have to do. Even if I have to kill you. So, will you tell the court yourself, or shall I? Either is fine with me.
I'll talk, but please, help me. Nothing matters anymore. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then, I stabbed one's dead body with the knife, and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the nickel samurai costume. Stab the body with the knife? Why would you do that? Isn't it obvious? They put the blame on a certain person. A certain cowardly man. What do you mean by all of this?
It might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth.
The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Last time?
Last time he committed a murder.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Miss Andrews. So, Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Corrida, in the chest with a knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt on guard for the murder. And this is her crime.
What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer? Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination. Okay. Okay, and we've been going on this one for a little bit, so we are going to stop for now and continue with the cross-examination next time.